Today I want to talk about finding a purpose in life. When you're kind of lost in your life and you have no fucking clue what to do anymore, or what to aim for anymore, what objective, what milestone. And to be fair, I think this is one of the hardest things to find during your life. And it probably started like storming your brain and you started thinking about it once you got closer to the measure age, right? Because that you like it or not, that's when basically school starts ending, and the society made us believe that this is the age of independence, right? Where you become fully responsible for whatever you do or need to do. Well, in reality, honestly, nothing actually changes. The only thing that changes maybe is that you're solely responsible for yourself, but in a low environment. In real life, even though you become of major age, your independence will probably be under a bus. For example, here in Italy, the major age, nobody is independent. Like I can fucking tell you. Because even if you have a job, you do not have enough income to go live alone. Except if you make a shit ton of sacrifices. Which, to be fair, at this point, it is not worth it anymore, right? Like you live really bad just to be independent. I don't think it has any reason to exist as a thing. Now, having said that, I want to give you some of my own experience, right? Because I think it is a pretty strong ground to talk about this thing with. To me, the thoughts of what to do in life, of finding my own purpose in life, started roughly at 16. As I said, near the major age. And at that point, I was convinced that I would have been either a programmer or a video editor for YouTubers. And the first job, the programming one, was one my parents were even happy about, because not only it made them happy because I would have went to uni and graduated there, but because let's say it is known for some reason that I still have to understand, because I was a programmer, I didn't see that at all. But people think IT people get a shit ton of money once they graduate and start working, and they can basically work wherever in the world, especially if they know English. And luckily, I do know the language pretty fine. And to be fair, I did work as a programmer for a lot of years, both as a freelance and as an employee. I start talking about the employee part, which, to be fair, it fucking sucked ass. Most of the time, I was doing everything except programming. I was fixing printers, I was fixing the networking, I was helping people with their computers, and at one point, they literally told me to just do PowerPoint presentations 8 hours a day for 5 days of the week, non-stop. And while it may be easy, like we agree it is easy money, it was just consuming me on the inside because it was so bad. I disliked it so much, and I did it for like 6 or 7 months in a row. And then I started like going not full time anymore, part time, and then slowly I just went away from that job. As a freelance instead, I always had bad experiences, like always as a programmer. So I'll add in the video editing part, which was all done as a freelancer. And even that, I mostly never had good experiences. But at least one thing that it helped me notice is that neither the programming job and the video editing job were made for me. Not because I lack skills to do those. Don't get me wrong, like for example, video editing wise, I was one of the best Italian video editors there were for YouTube. In fact, I work with some of the most famous Italian YouTube channels. But exactly like the programming job, it was slowly consuming me because like most of the videos they did were fake. And I honestly do not like sure you can fake something, but do not fake the whole fucking video. The kind of video was really not my thing. I needed to always be available to start editing. Even I don't fucking know, like, they send me a video 5 p.m. On a Sunday. I need to start working on it because it is a news. You need to make it out to publish it as soon as possible. So, it was slowly consuming. I still remember one time I worked for an esport organization, always in Italy. And me and the lead video editor, which honestly wasn't doing anything, had to render videos until 6 a.m. in the morning. And obviously, I didn't get paid for all those extras. So, not my thing. Consuming me, not worth it. Let's change. And let's be fair, like, once I lost those two life purposes, I thought I can always find new ones, right? Like that is not a problem. That's the good thing about it. Even though you lose them, you can find new ones. You can refine old ones. Somehow you can find new purposes in life. And you wouldn't be wrong saying that. I agree on that, actually. And I can assure you that I've tried. In fact, at one point, while looking for that, I jumped back into my kid's dream. You know, as a kid, I always loved watching MasterChef. I always loved watching Kitchen Nightmares. Wherever Gordon Ramsay was, I wanted to look at it. Okay, I fucking love that guy so much. Not because I love him in particular, but because of the fucking love he has for food, the love he has for kitchens, the care he has for for what you're working with, right? And so I went back to this kid dream that my family really did not want me to do because they know how bad it is having like working in that field. So I started trying to become a cook. I wanted to become a real good cook, maybe one day even a chef, in a fucking badass restaurant. And even in that case, as for the other two jobs, I got extremely lucky. To this day, I've had like 2 work experiences in that field. The first was alongside an ex-3 Michelin star sous chef, and her helper, which was another 3-star Michelin guy that worked there in the same restaurant. And the other was in a Michelin Guide restaurant. Not starred, but still Michelin Guide. Yet, once again, after doing those two, I decided to temporarily stop working in that field. Because, to be fair, the kind of life that doing that requires is something I'm not happy to trade. Being enslaved and underpaid, having to work 10 to 16 hours a day, every day with no rest days, I don't think anyone would think that it is a good trade off. For some reason, in that field, people think it is what you need to do, but I disagree. And luckily, with time, more people are disagreeing, but it is still there, you know? People still think about it, especially chefs and old chefs. So, after those two experiences, I'm now back in that limbo, right? The life part in which you have no fucking clue what to do, you have no clue what your purpose is. Not because I do not have choices. Don't get me wrong, I have them. I still get answered. I still get asked if I want to go work in restaurants. Not recently. Not sorry. Not too late ago, the people I work with as a video editor remessaged me after a few years because they needed an editor. Like, I am lucky in that regard. I have a lot of chances to work. Problem is the trade-off of not being able to do anything else in your life, I think is not worth it. And you know, like one of the best life advices about finding this purpose that I received was asking yourself what you want it to be. And I know it may sound dumb or maybe even too simple, but even though I do not particularly like this advice, it is true. There's no way around it. Because you are the only one that can decide your life purpose, right? Not everyone else, just you. Yet, as I said, I do not like that advice one single bit. As I think you know that, like, usually when you're asking yourself that question, what is my purpose in life? It is a period of time in which you probably have no options at all to choose from. Or the ones you had, like me, completely vanished for a good reason. So the best thing I would advise in that regard, in reality, is not to ask yourself what you want your purpose in life to be, or purposes, there can be even more than one, but is to start doing whatever comes up to your mind. Start experimenting, and don't care if it is a job, a hobby, or whatever. Just do it, right? Like Shia LaBeouf, just do it. Because the more you start trying, the more you start moving forward, and the more you'll be able to capitalize on opportunities and find your new life purpose. You know, right now I am 26 years old. And as I said, once again, I'm missing my purpose in life. And to be fair, if you are too, don't stress yourself too much about it. Give yourself the time you need. Give yourself the benefit of trying, no matter if you succeed or if you want to continue or give up. The only thing that matters, to be fair, after all, is that you keep on walking, right? No matter how fast, slow, if you go forward, if you go backwards, or if you're about to trip with your face on the ground, or being completely stable. The only thing that matters is that you keep on walking. That's it. Everything else will come one day or the other, as long as you do your best to make it happen. That's it.